Hey guys, and in this video we're going to take a look at how to learn Java using Javdroid in 40 minutes. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. So let's start. First open the Play Store and then search Javdroid, Javdroid. Click on the first app that you see and then install it. Javdroid is an Android app used to write and compile Java programs. Once it is installed, open the app. I have already installed the app, so now I'm going to open it. Once you open the app, it should look something like this, and if you want dark mode like all the programmers, click on the three lines and then go to settings, appearances, editors, theme, and choose as your liking. I've chosen dark. You have to write your code here. To save and open a file, you have to click the folder and then choose a folder from which you want to open it. To save a file, click save, and if you want to create a new folder, click on the new folder and name the folder. Otherwise you can select the folder and write the name of your file that you want to save it as. In Java, there are different types of variables: primitive variables and primitive data type and non-primitive data types. The primitive data types are integer, float, double, character and boolean. To write a variable, you have to first name the type, then name the variable is equals to and assign a value. And semicolon is very important. You have to put semicolon after every sentence. Float and double store decimal points but with different storage values, and integer stores normal numbers without decimal points. Character stores the only one letter which you need to put in single quotes. Boolean stores true and false, only two values, true and false. One rule of variables is that you cannot name two variables with the same letter or the same name. Boolean needs to be written as Boolean, not Bool. The non-primitive data types are string and arrays. I'll teach the arrays after some time. First, the string. String stores a string value which is put in double quotes. It can store any value, ABCD or numbers or anything, but it needs to be in double quotes. To print any output, you need to write system.out.print or println. You can print normal letters by putting them in double quotes, and if you put a plus sign after the double quotes, you can add other stuff to it. Like if you want to print a variable, then you have to put the name of the variable after the plus sign with the quote after the double quotes, add the plus sign and then the variable name to print the thing in the double quotes and then the variable value. You can add two numbers or integer values by just putting the variable name plus and then the other variable name. And if you put \n in double quotes, then it will print in the new line. It will make a space and put the cursor into the new line. You can also do this by system.out.println, which after printing puts the cursor in the next line. As you can see, the two outputs are in different lines. If you want to take input from the user, you have to put input java.util.star, which is a package in Java which contains most of the stuff, and you have to assign the scanner S, name the scanner whatever you want. I have named it S, is equals to new scanner, and then in brackets put system.in for input. Now to take input, you have to write a variable name, or you have to make a new variable, assign a new variable. Like I have assigned integer value int, and then the variable name is equals to scanner name dot next int for next integer, next float for next float, and double for double, next line for the whole next line, and just next for a string variable, for the first string variable. You need to put brackets after the next integer or whatever you have put, like next int or double, and then semicolon is a must. And you can take that input and then you can print it. Like in J, you have to print it by system.out.println or print, and then J, if you want space between a variable, then you have to put plus and then double quotes with a space, and you have a space between them. Now we will learn comments. If you put two slashes, it becomes a comment, and that line is not seen by the compiler, and it is ignored when the program is running. And if you want a multi-line comment, then you have to put backslash and then a star, not backslash, only slash and then star, and then at the end you have to put star and then slash to end the comment. The if statement, the syntax is if and then in brackets condition, like 1 is equals to 1, or if a variable is equals to or less than or equal to 0 or something like that, a condition, and then curly brackets, then whatever you want. If the statement is true, the statement in the curly brackets will be executed. There are different kinds of if statements: if, else if, and if statement, multiple if statements. In multiple if statements, if the condition is true, the statement will be executed, and in the next, and then go to the next if statement, and if that condition is true, the statement will be executed. And in the else if statements, if the condition is false, it will go into the else if and check if the condition is true, and if it is true, it will execute and then break out of the loop. And else means if the condition, else doesn't need a condition, and if every other thing is false, then the statement in the else will be executed. Now let's see some examples of if statement. If 1 is less than 0, which is false, the statement will not be executed. And else, if 1 is greater than 2, which is also false, and this statement inside this else if will also not be executed. Then there is else, and which will be executed as both other statements are false. As you can see, the output is 1, and as both if and else if both were false, so the else statement was executed. And now 1 is greater than 2, as the else if statement is true and if statement is false. Now I'm making the if statement true. As you can see, the else if was not executed, only the if statement was executed. So in if and else if statement, the only one code is executed, even if both of the other codes are true, conditions are true. Now let's check for if statement, both multiple if statements. As you can see, both the if statements are true, so both of them are executed. Unlike the else if statement, even though it was true, it did not execute the statement. No, the exclamation mark means not, so not equal to, so exclamation mark and is equal to means not equal to, and double equal to sign means if you want to check if one thing is one variable is equal to the other one, then both the there are two equal to signs. Now we'll take a look at switch case. The syntax for switch case is switch, and in round brackets the variable name that you want to compare with. In switch case only the int value and char value is only accepted. Then you put curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets you put case and the number or character that you want to compare it with. Like in int you put case 1, which means it will compare if the integer is equal to case 1 or if the integer is equal to 1, and in character you put it in single quotes a, like if the variable is equal to a, and then you put the colon, then the statement that you want to be executed if this case is true, and then break. If you don't put break, all of the lower cases will also be executed even if they are not true. And at the end, as in if statement, there was else. If all of them were not true, then the else was executed. In this there is default. This does not require any break statement as it is the last one. Let's take a look at one example of the switch case. We'll take a number from the user as we have seen it in the previous. How to take we are taking the next int to take the next number, and we pass in the variable num, case 1 is if the num is equals to 1, this case will be executed. And if it is equal to 2, the case 2 will be executed. Remember to put the break, or all the cases will be executed if one of the case is true. If both the cases are false, then the default statement will be executed. As you can see, Q is the output when we enter 1, and when we enter 2 the output is 11 and L, and when we enter any other number it is QL. Now let me remove the default the break statement, and as you can see, if I put 1, both the case 1 and the case 2 is executed, and if I put 2, only the second case is executed, as there is a break after that. Now we'll take a look at loops. There are different types of loop: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. First, let's see the for loop. The syntax is for, and in round brackets, first the initialization, semicolon, the condition, semicolon, and then the reinitialization, and then curly brackets and the statement inside it. The initialization means int or any variable type. The name of the variable is equals to a number, let's say 0 or anything. So you're initializing the variable, and then the condition means A is equals to B, or if A is greater than B, and the reinitialization is the number variable plus plus or variable minus minus. Plus plus is increment, which increases the number by 1, and minus minus is decrement, which decreases the number by 1, and the statement will be executed till the condition is false. The while loop is, let's see the while loop. The while loop syntax is while, and then in brackets, round brackets, condition, and then the curly brackets. Inside the curly brackets the statement will go, and the statement will be executed until the condition is false. For loop and the while loop are both entry control loop, whereas do while loop is an exit control loop which checks if the condition is true at the end. So first it does do, and then the curly brackets statement, so it will execute the statement first, and then while round brackets condition, and then check if the condition is true or false. And after the while round bracket condition, make sure to put a semicolon or you will get an error. Let's see some examples. First, the do while loop. So do, and then the statement, and then while, and let's give a condition. Let's give it num that the user has input from the user. If the num is less than, or if it is greater than any number, let's say 0, then it will continue to do the loop. System.out.println, and then it will print something. Let's print num only. And then in this you need to reinitialize it inside the loop only. So num is minus minus. As you can see, I forgot the semicolon, so I got an error. And if you get that kind of an error, that means there's an extra bracket, or you need to put an extra bracket, there's one less bracket. As you can see, all the numbers are printed. including 0, as the do while loop checks it after printing. So when the value is 0, it will first for int I is equal to 0, that is the initialization, then I is less than num, that is the condition, and I plus plus is the reinitialization. Now I'm copying the out system.out.println and pasting it in the for loop. Instead of num, we'll take I, as the I value is increasing. So now the while loop, while the condition is true, num is while num is less than or greater than 0, and then this is the reinitialization. So num minus minus, it will decrease the amount of num. As you can see in the for loop, it is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and in the while loop it is 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1 0. Now we'll check them one by one. First, the do while loop. And then the while loop. Now the for loop. Now let's see array. Arrays are int, and then you need to put square brackets, open and close the square brackets. That's an array, a list of values. It can be a string array, char array, int array, and then put curly brackets, and in them give the list, like first and then comma, second, third, comma, third, and so on. And to print an array, you need to put the array name, box brackets, and then 0 is for the first one, 1 is for the second one, and 2 is for third one, and so on. The values start from 0 in Java. And if you want a multi-dimensional array, put 2 box brackets, square brackets. That's a 2-dimensional array. You can put a 3-dimensional array, and so on. In this, you need to first make a normal array like curly brackets, and then inside that you add more curly brackets for one first list, like 1 2 3 is from first group, and then the second group is 4 5 6. So each group has a curly bracket, then a comma to segregate the group. And in this, the output to print it, you need to put two box brackets. First one is the group number and the second one is the number of the value number. So first one is 0 is for 1 2 3 first group and 1 is for the second group. So 0 is the first group first, so it is 1, and 1 0 is second group 1, second group first 1, so 4. You can add values by plus sign and divide them by slash sign and multiply them by multiplication star, and you can get the remainder by mod sign, which is a percentage sign. Now we'll see the string methods. You can do different stuff with string, like get the length of it, convert it into a char array, which is each letter of the string will be a different value of that array. Like 1 2 3, now we have made an int array which is 1 2 3, and in a char array it will be ABC, so one letter. Now we'll get an input from the user as we have done before. To convert it to a char array, you put two capital CHAR array capital A and then brackets, round brackets, and you need to store it in a variable. So make a char array like char, and then array is two box brackets or square brackets, the name of the variable, and to print it is the same way, the name of the variable and in box bracket or square bracket the number which you want to get. So 0 is for the first letter. So if you want to get a first letter of a string, you can get it by converting it into a char array and getting the 0 value of the char array. As you know, \n is for next line, \t is for tab space, and to get the length of the string you put st or the name of the string and then length, round brackets. Length should be small l, and to make it all in uppercase, put the name of the string and then dot to uppercase U capital C capital. As you can see, I've got an error because I made the L caps lock. It needs to be small. Now let's input, let's say SANAY, and as you can see the first letter S, and then there is 5 numbers, and it's in uppercase, all in uppercase at the end. As you can see, the public static void main, that is a function which is already defined by Java, and to make a user defined function you can make it by, after the function is over, after the first curly bracket at the end, you put public void. Void means that it does not return anything, any value. So public void sum, let's name it sum, then you can name it whatever you want, then the round brackets, and then after that curly brackets. The round brackets contain parameters that you can take in, like int num. So if you can get the number integer value, any integer value from when it is called, when the function is called, and you can use it inside the function. like over here we are adding both of the values. To call the function you can put sum and then round brackets, and inside it put the if there are any parameters you put the value which you want for the value of the parameters. And I forgot to put static. Static is used for if there is a static public static void main, then it can, the other function can only be called if it is static. So static function can call a static function but can't call a non-static function. And if it has to return something, then it will contain, and instead of void it will contain int or string or whatever it is returning, whatever value it is returning. And in this, instead of system.out.println we have to put return, so it returns the value. So now it is returning the sum of the two numbers. And in this we need to store it in a variable, so you have to put integer if it is returning an int, so integer string, and then the variable name is equals to, and then that, so it is stored in that variable, and then you can print that variable. As you can see, the output was 30. Now we'll see the try and catch block. It is try and then curly bracket statement, curly bracket close, and then catch. If it cannot perform that statement, then it will catch an exception, and then you can execute something else or print the exception